Everyday initiation. It's the self-initiatory path. It's also me documenting the tail end of packing up my family after 3 years living on this property. The back and forth traveling and moving has stirred up all kinds of thoughts and feelings. I want to share some of those reflections while I get the work done. By the end of the video, you'll see how simple things like milking a cow, hunting deer and chopping wood have provided the foundation for our intentional living, and every small action moves us closer to who we want to be. We've lived this way for a long time in various cycles and seasons. We're always welcoming people here so they can take small initiations themselves and move towards transformation and healing. So I'm back out at the farm where I've been tattooing for just under 3 years on 5,000 acre property that we were lucky enough to be able to inhabit, reside here. And people travelled out. It's been pretty amazing. I worked out when I moved to Tasmania about 7 years back with my wife and our firstborn that my clientele, or just people that were in residents, people that had an attraction to what it was that I was doing, intentional tattooing, would travel to get tattooed. I didn't need to be in close physical proximity in order for people to feel like there would be value in traveling to a location, taking a journey, taking time out, pressing pause on the everyday life to step into a process of moving towards this change, this transformation. And every tattoo is a transformation, changing you physically from one state to another. Yet alongside the visible shift, there's also an unseen initiation at work. And when I get to work with someone on a tattoo, it's never just physical. It's walking the tattoo pathway. It's both a technical tattoo and a metaphysical journey. So the tattoo itself is physical, visual, result-driven. It's everything the industry usually delivers, the how, the what. The pathway is the metaphysical. It's experiential, it's process-oriented, and it gives tattoos a deeper meaning. It's sacred, it's spiritual, it's the when and the why. Anyway, our time's up here, we're moving, or we've moved. We've relocated ourselves, and I'm still doing the sort of pack up. I'm wrapping things up. And so I'm just documenting a little bit of that for people to see the beauty of this space, and also just to share sort of the different potentials that there are when it comes to tattooing. It doesn't have to just be the prescription that most people have. These are the steelies here. So what I want to talk about while I'm pulling these steelies out is the self-initiatory path and everyday initiation, because not all initiation is elevated and sacred. There is a layer of needing to lean into an initiatory lifestyle, understanding there's this cyclical process that requires intentional action. Couldn't take long. A few more here to do, but couldn't get them in shot, so I'll come back for them. Just putting my vest back on because it's actually pretty cold out here, despite the sun shining. And I want my chest to cool down. Been moving pretty relentlessly, like non-stop, as we've relocated, and I know if I leave myself open, I might start to feel a bit run down. But I'm going to go pick all the steelies up now in the old hunting yurt. Just walk through the yards here. These old yards. So we kept the cows. And we'd milk them over in the crush here. Classic. Look at these things. Built by hand. All the trees were felled here, according to Dave, who grew up here. It's his parents' farm. And imagine cutting these things. Wiring it all together. I'll put some videos in of the cows. Charlie, come get, 3 or 4 litres of milk every morning for a little bit. Should have been in the ass. Finally I found a place where my troubles fade away, and the world outside my door can't come in. Found a little piece of mind in my own skin. Anyway, caring for those cows was an initiation, for sure. Wait for that glow plug to turn off. Ew. Love this thing. Any farmers or farmhands out there watching me do this? Yeah. I'm sure there's a better way. I'm not a bushy, massive imposter syndrome here, feeling myself with bloody, 20 steelies. I know that professional fencers do something like, multiple kilometers per day. Anyway, might not have been a massive transformation, like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. We might not have transmuted anything, turning one substance into another, like lead to gold, and it might not be all that metaphysical, it might not be something that shifts your internal meaning system drastically. But it's an initiation nonetheless. If we look at the Latin initio, it simply means to enter, to begin, to acquaint, to perform the first act. So if you're feeling stuck, you're uninspired by the mundane routine, just spinning your wheels, and this is an invitation for you to lean into life. Self-initiation starts with intentional action. Intentional action starts with self-responsibility. The concept of initiation in just a very everyday sense. So not like a rite of passage that's some sacred experience, which I think are highly important, but usually have to be highly curated. But some of the more natural ones that are just occurring every day if you choose to intentionally live and participate in your experience. So like I said, being out here for the past 2.5 years was an introduction to living on a rural property, doing lots of things like fencing, electric fencing, keeping animals. And that introduction is an initiation in itself. You go from not knowing about something to knowing about something. And so you can't learn and grow and have this sort of undercurrent of initiation happening unless you take action and invite that in. You need to voluntarily step into a process of even gradually and slowly introducing new experiences and broadening your breadth of experience. You can't do that just sitting at home. You can't do that by taking things for granted. You can't do that by not saying yes. So the next thing I'm pulling down is this yurt. It's a bit scrappy. I'll take you in and have a look in a minute, but we set it up out in the bush and it was our kitchen and living room for about 3 months when the kids were real little, before we had our third. We just popped it up near a creek on a 12,000 acre property that we just sort of got a little patch on, leased a patch for, I think we took a 5-year lease, just wigged out, bugged out for a bit, spent some time in nature, drove back into town every 2 weeks. It was beautiful. Again, such a nice experience. I have notice of that now. But yeah, got to break it down. I don't know how it's going to go. Nice little doors here with this. Don't know how I'm going to pull this down by myself, to be honest. Lots of ropes and nuts holding it together. And awesome little cooker. Look at this thing. It's like a dream. Yeah, but yeah. How to take this thing down. Get a ladder up there. Pull it apart. Trade up the gear. It's getting cold. Sundown. Hold up a knife. And Father Chris brought me this from Carrefour Roaster. Good little one. Should do the job. A lot of people think that intention is just a goal or a statement or a decision, but real intention is something that you align yourself with and that your life revolves around. It's not just what you want, it's how you're walking and approaching it every day. It's what you notice, it's what you let go of, and it's what you honor. Intention is that internal aim. It sharpens your perception, sharpens your attention, and it tells you what matters, even when no one's watching. Just thought I'd pause and speak to another couple of things that have been going through my mind while I'm doing this. So another big initiatory process for myself, my wife, my kids, the whole family really. It sort of started when we were out living in this yurt, but more intensely and sort of in a more skilled and focused way when we arrived at this property was actually catching and harvesting our own food. And so that started with learning to butcher lambs here in this yard and harvesting them in that meat shed down there, and also hunting, because this land here, we're kind of in this tiny patch. Like here's the bottom corner, there's a road out there, dirt road, in this corner here. I don't want to reveal too much of this property because it's not mine to share, just a guest here, but it kind of goes on out in this direction well beyond what you can see. Like I said, that we're in a little patch of maybe a couple of, maybe 100 acres we can see, of 5,000, so we can hunt deer here. And so firstly it was learning to butcher, kill and butcher by hand. Then it was we did skins. That's why I paused, because in here, being by a fire, you don't know it, and curling up on a skin like one of these, it's just so nice. And so my wife tanned these skins. Here's a goat skin. Got about 4 goat skins we did while we were here. That's a story. Goats. The kids loved this. This is like what childhood dreams are made of. Yeah, goats, that's a story. I mean, all the animals are a bit of a story. I got to hunt my first deer here, and then we kind of were sustaining ourselves off of that, a deer every 3 months, and some lamb that we would get from Dave, who we were renting this place from. But yeah, there's an Arabic saying, if you don't have any problems, get yourself a goat. And I fully understand that now. But looks a bit different in here now, hey? I'm going to keep going. Because here's the truth. Your life is shaped not by what happens, but by how you respond. And what you respond to depends on what you're paying attention to. And what you pay attention to is set by your intention. Without it, your life can feel scattered, reactive, unfocused. But with it, everything starts to organize. Meaning rises to the surface, decisions become clearer. You begin to see the path that was there all along.
So the question isn't what do you want? It's what are you willing to align with?
Getting through it, kind of racing the sunset. Well, the sunset's by far the best I've seen on this property. Just, you'll see, because it's going to take me that long. And I'm just getting a drill because I actually had to sort of tap a couple of screws in the very top of the yurt to secure the roof poles. So just got to undo those first, I think, before I untie the points where it connects to the wall. But I'm kind of guessing. No instructions with this thing. Just turned up and I had to work it out. So those square bits and the drill. So yeah, if you're watching this, I mean, hopefully you've stopped scrolling and you've just sort of slowed down a bit and taking some of these thoughts in. I'm sharing them because a lot of the time I'm contemplating all these things, and I'm lucky enough to have conversations about deep, reflective themes and questions. Because oh damn, I thought that was the battery. I better go back. Because that's the river I swim in. That's the work that I'm doing with people when they get tattooed. And a lot of the time, people say to me, "Geez, you know, like I don't get to have conversations like this very often. If I was to try and talk to my mates about this, and if I was to bring this up at work or in the home environment, even, you know, like some people seem like, I can't talk to my partner about this sort of stuff. They're just kind of a bit tapped out to it. Just want to stay on the surface in the comfy place. So I just thought I'd start sharing here and just see if it kind of lands or opens any windows up for conversation, even indirectly. You know, this is one of the modern wonders, one of the technological openings. I won't say advantage or disadvantage, but it's definitely an opening that hasn't existed before. So I'm just sharing into the space, seeing whether there's anything resonant for people, seeing if I have like an elevated enough aim, if my intention is clean and it's clear and it's connected to something that they, you know, the thoughts, the message, you know, even just the time to sort of hang out with whoever is hanging out with me in this space, that it's of some value and support in this moment, even if it's just, you know, distracting you from some of the more toxic stuff that's here in the interweb. Obviously the video fell over, but I got through it. All down in one piece. Didn't break my neck, which is nice. Next going to take the door, but let's just take a moment to appreciate that sun coming through there. Starting to change color. Let's keep going on these nuts.
And so what if initiation isn't just a grand ritual or a far off pilgrimage? What if it's something that's just right there, hidden in plain sight? You just need to pay attention to the gestures or the disruptions or the potential of something that is different. It might make you feel uneasy or uncomfortable.
She's not putting on too much of a show for us this evening, but it still is beautiful.
What if the initiation's just in the moment that you stop and acknowledge or feel that there's a shift taking place and you choose to really see it? What I'm sharing in this video is just one chapter of my life where we've done that. Where we don't just choose to operate on autopilot and something else gets called forward. And so really unpacking what it means to initiate yourself even in an everyday way. How can you begin to cross from where you are to somewhere else? And where might your everyday life already be asking you to change or inviting you if you pay attention? You know, this isn't just a philosophy. I've watched this unfold over and over again for so many people with tattoo clients, friends, family. And like you're seeing here in my own life, you can learn to read the signs. You can learn to anchor your attention and act with intention and change. Your life can change. And the change actually doesn't come from the outside. It starts from within. It starts by paying attention. So hopefully by the end of the video, if you've stuck with it, and if you can actually feel and connect to where I'm coming from, it might help. It might give you a clearer sense of how initiations can begin in a small way. Not someday in the future, but today, in your present moment, and not through forcing something, not through being desperate, but through attention and alignment, through stillness and presence. And if you're able to recognize that, recognize the first inklings of the invitation, then transformation will come. Because the truth is that the invitation's nearly always there, real softly, real subtly, just waiting for someone to pay attention, but most people miss it. Most people just stay in the fog, or their attention and their intention, or their attention is intentionally diverted away. A lot of people feel the restlessness or the changing there, stirring, but never respond to it. They just wait until something dramatic happens and that pulls them and snaps them out of it. But the invitation is already there. And ignoring it can be the most costly thing of all. So you can openly approach and cross into this new place with attention, with sharpness, with attention that sharpens our intention. And see, finally just have a look and see what's unfolding in front of you, and that it's not chaos. It's not disruption. It's just change. And that you just need to respond. You don't need something big to happen. You just have to say yes to the moment that you're in. You just need to begin walking deliberately from where you are towards where you're going to be. You know, and potentially that invitation's been there for a long time, just waiting for you to notice it. So do that. It could just be a little flickering in your world, like a lantern in the distance. Or a bird high up in the sky, just circling overhead, waiting for you to pay attention. Waiting for you to redirect your sight.